guys, how's it going? This is me, Pam, better known as Miss 58. I know I have been out for a while. I had some personal things I needed to attend to, and so just know that everything is good. I did miss you guys, of course, and so I'm back on here now because I was in the mood to play in makeup and wanted to create this look. So I figured, why not go ahead and film it to share it with you guys? So, needless to say, let me go ahead and introduce you guys to the palette that I was working from. So if you guys are interested in knowing how I created this simple shimmery eye look, then stay tuned. Okay guys, I am back. Um, so before we jump head on into this video, let me give you guys a quick rundown of what I've already done so far. I've already moisturized and primed my face, and I use my usual Pond's moisturizing cream here. Now, here recently, I have also added a little bit of my bio oil to that moisturizer. It just gives my face a little bit more moisture, and especially up under the eyes where it's most needed for me. Okay, now after that, I did go ahead and prime, and I used my Maybelline Master Prime. This is a moisturizing primer, so I wanted to get these out of the way. Now let's go ahead and jump into what we're here for. Now, I did purchase a few small items from Colourpop. I've already gotten rid of the box, of course, because I've already opened them. Now, I did buy two concealers here. Okay, one is in the shade 40, and the other is in the shade 42. Now, here's the shades right here. Okay, and they're very similar, or very close in color, I should say. Now, I also purchased two small palettes. Now, one of them, of course, is the palette called Crush here. Okay, now I'm not going to bother to open this or swatch it until, because I'm going to do a video on this. Okay, now the palette that we will be working from today, also from Colourpop, is called Creamsicle. Okay, now there was a lady I watch all the time. She is very good, and she is the reason why I purchased this. And I think her channel, or her name, as a matter of fact, is called Shirley's Chocolate. You guys should check her out. She's really good. But anyway, this is the palette we're going to be working from. Okay, so let me go ahead and open her up. And she's got some pretty shades in her. Now, it is a quad palette. Okay, now these are the shades here. There are two mattes and two shimmers. Okay, now I am a neutral kind of girl, so this definitely works for me. Now, there are names, of course, on the back of the acrylic palette. I do like the fact that it's acrylic and see-through. It's really cute. So, and we'll work from that. Now, with the concealers that I had just recently purchased, I'm going to go into the lighter shade to define my brows. Because as you can tell, my brows are already done. So let's go ahead and take the lighter shade of the concealer, which is in the shade 40. And let's go ahead and define these brows. Now, as you can tell, there is a slight orangey undertone to this concealer color, and I'm okay with that. Okay, so because actually this is more closer to my skin tone. Okay, so now that I've got the brows defined underneath, I'm gonna take my finger and blend this out. Okay, just like that. Now, I'm going to clean off my brush. I do have some handy wipes right here. And I'm going to clean this same flat concealer brush here. And what I'm going to do is go into another concealer I use on a regular. And this one here is by Maybelline, the Age Rewind concealer. So I'm going to take a little bit of this and go over the top of my brows. Now, at one time, I didn't find it necessary to do this because I would use my foundation, if you will, um, to take care of the top part of my brows. But, and it did its job. So I guess here lately I've just been trying something different. And this here just allows my brows to be just a tad bit more sharp, if you will. Okay, now we got that out of the way. Now, after I've done my brows, the next thing I'm going to do is go over my eyelids with a different concealer. Okay, and I'm going to use my Temp 2 concealer palette here. I very seldom use this palette, but you know, it's a good concealer palette. So I'm going to take one of the lighter shades in here, and I'm going to just barely dip into that and apply this over my eyelid because I want to diffuse my hyperpigmentation on my eyelid. And this here will just allow the eyeshadow colors to come through more vibrant, if you will. Okay, guys, now I've already set my eyelids and my brow bone area where I had defined my brows a little bit. So I'm going to go in with this Morphe blending brush here. And I'm going to go into the lighter of these 4 shades, and I think it's called On a Stick. Okay, this one here in the corner, right here. And I'm going to use that on the transitional area. So I'm just going to pat this into place. And I'm just going to lightly blend this all over. I'm going to tap into it just a little bit more, just to intensify it just a little. And again, I'm going to go in and blend around the edges of this color. And I did, however, put it not only in the transitional area, but over the entire lid as well. I do like the pigmentation that is given off. Okay, now I'm going to go into the next shade next to it. And I'm quite sure this one is called Dreamful here at the top. So I'm going to use this same blending brush here. And I'm going to apply this a little bit more on the outer portion of my eye. Again, I'm going to blend that in to mix it with the first shade I applied. Now, with that, like I said, this look is going to be very simple. So I'm going to go in with one of the shimmers here to apply that over my lid. So I'm going to use this rosy shimmer shade here. So I'm going to use my finger to tap into this and apply it over my lid. And I'm making sure to get the inner portion of my eye. So I'm going back in with the same blending brush I had previously. And I'm just going to blend over the top of that. Okay. I think I want to apply something of a more deeper tone on the outer portion of my eye. So I think I'm going to go into my Viseart palette here at Hand's Reach. So what I'm going to do is use another smaller blending brush I have here. And this one here, can't think of the name of it. I got these from my previous BoxyCharm box. But anyway, because this eye look is pretty rosy, so I'm going to go into that outer portion with a brown. And I'm just going to use very little of this. And it's just to deepen the outer portion. Okay? And that eye is done. Now, I'm going to jump off camera here, take care of the other eye and lashes, and I'll be back to join you guys to finish up the rest of this face. Okay, guys, as you can see, the eyes are done. Both lashes are on. And by the way, these lashes are from Salon Perfect. They're pretty much one of my faves. So I will make sure, of course, to leave everything in the description box. But getting back to these eyes, you can see there's a little fallout here from the shimmer. So we're going to go ahead and kind of wipe this away. Now, what I'm going to use to color correct my hyperpigmentation under my eye, I'm going into my NYX palette here, and I'm going to use another flat concealer brush here, and I'm going to mix the orange and the yellow shade right next to it, okay, because the orange is just a tad bit too intense, and the yellow kind of breaks that up a little bit and give me more of a peach looking color. So I'm going to tap this into my hyperpigmentation and conceal these under eyes, making sure that I blend around the edges of that concealer. Okay guys, now that the under eye is concealed, I'm going to go in with one of my favorite foundations here. And of course this is Fenty, and this is in the shade 380. So I'm going to pump a little bit on my dense kabuki brush here. Okay, and I'm going to just lightly dab this all over the face and pat this into place. Now, I try to use as less product as possible, and especially when you're dealing with mature skin such as myself, less is more. It goes a long way. I'm just going to finish tapping this in, and as you could tell, of course, I'm doing a little bit of swiping and tapping, but I don't per se go directly under the eye. And the reason being is because, of course, we're going to add concealer there, but I don't want a lot of product under the eye that will cause any flaking or creasing. Like I said, it is already well moisturized, but that's usually, dealing with mature skin, usually the areas that tend to crease the fastest. Okay, now I'm going to take my beauty sponge here. Now I'm going to go over top of that just to make sure everything is smooth. There's no streaks from the brushes or from my brush. Okay, now she's good to go. So the next thing I'm going to do is go into those two concealers I showed you guys that I have purchased from Colourpop, and these are the two here. So I'm going to go in with the darker shade, the number 42, and I'm going to apply this under my eye area, and I'm using very little, as you can see. Add a little bit to the chin, and then I'm going to go over top of that with the lighter shade in the number 40, and I'm just going to tap just a little bit of that over top of what I've already applied. Okay, I want my highlighted area to come forth, of course, but I don't want it to be prominent, if that makes any sense. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pat this concealer in. How you know I'm learning, I should say, that when I wash my brushes and my sponges, I must be washing them too rough. You see that? Where I done ripped a hole in it. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, as long as I start out with a clean blending sponge, that's all that matters. So let's go ahead and get this concealer patted out under the eye. And I do like this finish. It's not too bright, and it'll give me just the right amount of lightness once I set it. Now, to set my highlighter areas I just did, I usually go in with two different setting powders. One is, of course, by Sacha Buttercup, and the other one is my NYX setting powder. Now, as much as I like my Sacha Buttercup, it tends to give me too yellowish of a highlight from my powder. So when I mix the two, it gives me the perfect color that I'm looking for in my setting powder. So I'm going to dip into the both of those, and I'm going to go ahead and stack this area. And like I said, it gives me the right shade color for my setting powder under my eye without looking too bright. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing down my nose and the chin. Again, like I said, the perfect shade for me without it being too overly done in color. And there's nothing wrong with the lighter highlighted area up under the eye. But for an old girl like myself, that would be doing a little too much for me. Okay, so now that I've gotten those areas set, I'm going to go in with a face powder here. And this one here will be from my Milani face powder. And this is in the shade Warm 109. So I'm going to take a bigger blush brush, if you will. I couldn't get the name out. And I'm going to tap into this and I'm going to dust this all over the face. Okay, just a little bit goes a long way. Nothing major. Like I told you guys, this look is going to be really simple. So the next palette I'm going to go into is a contour palette by True Complexion. This is a True Complexion palette, excuse me. And this is by Black Radiance, okay? So I'm going to go into this, and I'm going to use the same blending brush here. And I'm going to tap into both of those brown shades and add a little contour to the perimeter of my face. I really don't contour, really. It's more of a bronze that I'm giving myself. And it's just a little bit, you know. Again, a little goes a long way. And I don't want my cheeks to, or under the cheekbone, I should say, to stand out. I don't want that. I just want like a subtle look, if you will. It makes my face look like I do have some type of structure there. Okay, just that simple. Now, I'm going to go into this same palette using a random blending brush. I received this, again, from a previous BoxyCharm. So I'm going to go into the Sculpt shade here in the middle. And I'm going to add just a little bit of this down both sides of my nose, just to define that just a little bit. Just like that. I do want my nose to stay subtle looking, like the rest of my face. So I don't want it to be too prominent of a contour on both sides of my nose. So I'm going to take my blending brush again and brush over that just a little. Okay, we neared the finish line, guys. So the last palette I'm going into is by OPV Beauty, Born to Shine. And this you could use at your will for blush, eyeshadow, whatever, because the colors in this thing are gorgeous, okay? So I'm going to go in the top here with this rosy color here, and I'm going to add a little color to my cheeks. Again, it won't be much, just a little, where it look like I do have some color on my face, okay? Okay, guys, so now let's get into spraying a little facial spray here. And this is the Miracle Mist by Tarte. Okay, so I'm just going to moisten my face a little bit just to get rid of the powdery look. Okay, take my sponge and I'm going to pat this into place. I'm liking so far how everything is looking. This is definitely me, keeping it simple, keeping it as natural looking as possible. Now, the last thing to do is do something with these lips, and that too will be something simple. So I'm going in with one of my favorite lip liners here, and this again by Colourpop, and this is in the shade BFF3, and you can tell I love it. Look at that, because I'm down to hardly nothing on this pencil. But don't fret, I do have a couple on hand, okay, in my stash. So let's go ahead and line these lips. Okay, now I did come in some and took that same pencil and colored my lips in just a little bit more. And again, I'm going to take the lightest shade of that concealer from Colourpop, and I'm going to add a little to the center of my lips. Now, any other time this will work fine for me. I'm all about a matte lip. But since I have it right here next to me, I'm going to go in and add a little Marc Jacob lip gloss over top of this. Okay, guys, this is it. Okay, a finished face from top to bottom. I'm loving how everything came out. How I feel about the new Colourpop Creamsicle palette here. Um, awesome. I know they got a couple more that I must get. I will get. Okay, so and then when I get those, I'll be sure to pop on and do a review, excuse me, of those as well. So this is definitely a must-have in anybody's collection. Okay, I have yet to know about the Crush palette, but never fret. I will be doing a video on this too. That's the reason why I didn't go into too many details about that. Now, if you have any questions on anything that I've done on or anything I could have done differently, please don't hesitate to let me know. Leave a comment down below in the comment section. I would greatly appreciate that. Don't forget to look me up over on Instagram. Miss50_8 is what that is over there. So, and just stop by just to say hi, okay, to me, and I will greatly appreciate that as well. So without further ado, guys, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Please don't hesitate to hit the like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate that, and you know, continue to stop by to see what else Miss Pam is up to. Okay, so with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.